And welcome everyone to the Tellor Core Chat, September 22nd, 2020. Um, really exciting week. So V2 coming out tomorrow. It's been it's been a long time coming. Um, Probably not nearly as long as many other
It's a week
projects
away.
V2. Yeah. Um, but we're really excited for it. So timing wise on that, we'll probably be pushing it tomorrow morning, Eastern time, 10, 11 a.m. Uh, Hopefully gas prices cooperate. Not that, most of the deployment's done, but you do have to run some transactions. It's always painful to see, but it should be really good. And hopefully gas prices are there so miners are kind of continuing to work. So most of you miners are currently upgrading at the last minute, which we figured would happen. So definitely make sure that you guys are upgraded. If you're not upgraded, you aren't going to lose out on any stakes. You're just going to not be able to win anymore if you're not calling the right function. So um, be sure you upgrade. So it should be fun to see kind of how the network responds tomorrow to the upgrade. So everybody pay attention to that. Whenever it does go live, we'll send out a tweet. We'll let everyone know, and hopefully things go smoothly. So yeah, we've been testing it on RinkB. Things look good. So everybody stay tuned. Kind of with that, for you, if you're just a normal user of a normal token holder and you're not a miner or you're not an actual user, so even actual users shouldn't notice a difference. But the other people who switching over to V2, you won't notice any difference uh, in the way that normal day-to-day Teller goes. But we have some exciting other releases coming out as well tomorrow. So the big one, we'll have a new website up, right, Mike?
Woohoo. Yes, we shall. I mean, it's we just have to point we just have to point the FTP at the right website, and it'll be live tomorrow morning. So I guess we'll probably just do it at the same time we push the the code live. But it's ready to go. New docs, new website,
Yeah.
new
We're
fancy
also
stuff to show
doing,
everybody.
so if you know the dispute center, that's going to have a new fresh V2 look,
Ah,
uh,
yes.
mainly because it just has changed with some of the back end changes. So it'll change a little bit, but on either the new website, the new docs, the new dispute center, go click around, try and break things. Let us know. um, let us know if we have any spelling errors or something like that. It's always, you always have, the initial day rust that'll happen whenever you push a whole bunch of content new right away. So let us know what you guys find.
Yep.
um, it's definitely one way that you can kind of help us out and help out the community, just letting us know, where we misplaced things. But it should be really exciting. There's a lot of new material you can sort of push out to people, and a reason to tweet about us, and a reason to,
Yep.
share with your friends.
And
So
we think that I know that the documentation and the white paper and the website is all designed with the goal of being much more well organized, easy to understand, easy to share. Everything's all in one spot, and so I think this will be go a long way to I guess continuing our sort of philosophy with making sure our project was one that was um, accessible and easy to understand, and not too complicated or hidden, obfuscated behind too many layers of I don't know, uh, like the difficult to read white papers that you see out there. So yeah, by all means, share around. You know the drill. And the other good thing is that the way we set up the docs is it's going to be, not that the other ones were hard to edit, but it's very easy for us to keep this one refreshed. We're using Gitbook. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that service, but it just makes it really easy for us to keep it updated and make changes as things change. So yeah, we welcome the feedback.
yeah, so even if you're not a developer, there's a lot for you to do tomorrow
There's,
and look over.
there's going to
It's,
be a section called holder documentation, which is going to be, for those of you that aren't devs, you'll have a place to go and participate.
yeah, or if you're like a branding UX guy and you really love those things, there's going to be a lot of things you can critique or compliment us on.
Don't nitpick too hard, but
Yes.
yes, things that we could change. I mean, there might be something that happens on the website when you go live the first day, and when you scroll, something weird happens, and that's normal. And yeah, please point those things
We're
out.
excited.
Iron out those
Yeah.
bugs.
So other things, that's really been where our focus has been. Um, we've been doing a lot on that. But to kind of give you guys the plan for, okay, well, V2 launches now what happens? So we're obviously continuing to work with, getting people onboarded and trying to find users. That's kind of a never ending thing that we hope will continue. The big plan. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know we plan to throw away our admin key. So we have an admin key that we're using for this upgrade, and then we're throwing it away, and everything else is going to be on a vote. So probably within a month after V2, we're going to be tossing that. That'll be we'll throw a little Zoom party or something when we do that. Pop some champagne in the office.
Some of you guys might not realize like what that even really means, for a project like us, and some people don't care, but some people really care.
Sure.
If you really value decentralization and you've been paying attention to things that have been happening in DeFi and exit scams or just projects that the founders have too much control, security risks. If those things are important to you, for us throwing away the admin key is a big deal. It's something that we didn't want to do it too early, but we wanted to make sure that we definitely do it, because then and only then can we really, really say that, we're as decentralized as we want to be.
Yeah.
And it becomes more of a DAO-like structure where the future of the protocol is in not just our hands in terms of upgrades, it's in the community's hands, which is really, it's kind of scary from our perspective, but also super cool. And so we think we're going to be really proud of that moment is what I want to get across. And I think you guys should be too.
Yeah. And then we'll be also pushing out. So after that happens, like a week or two later, we'll be pushing out Tellor V 2.5 is what we're calling it.
Already on 2.5.
Yeah, I know you guys are like, really? You're going to do an upgrade? But basically, there's going to be some gas savings and some structures to make sure that the payouts help with a lot of the gas costs. And then the big one is we're reducing the miner stake. The reason that we want to do it like right after we decentralize is we want you guys to all go vote. We want this, like we could easily switch those two around where we do the upgrade and then we do the upgrade to V2.5 and then decentralize, but we want you guys to vote on it. We want you guys to get used to these kind of having a say in the protocol. So,
we have participation in our community that's going to really prove that we have one of the best communities in the space. If we just get
like 10% people voting,
yes,
yes, it's like
huge.
So, we want you to spread it around, and that's like, so we're going to be pushing people to go vote with your tokens and things like that. So
it costs nothing to vote. It's just,
well, you have to pay gas fees.
Well, okay, well, that's true. We'll vote on the weekend.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to want people to vote, and that's something that we want to do. But we'll be reducing the miner stake, so I think all the miners will go and vote, because they'll be big fans of that. But we'll kind of push out some specs on that over the next few weeks, so you guys can read up on it and make sure you're making an educated decision.
Even if you're not a miner, or you could care less what the miner stake is, it would be really great for the project. It would support the project just to vote, because of those, because we can track how many votes we have, and we can share that, and it shows that we have a tight-knit community, people that show up to this call every week.
Yep. And then from there we have some further developments down the line that we'll be sharing. So that's kind of the next step. So, new products, making our miner more robust is a big piece of what we're looking to do. And then thinking about the future of Tellor and what things we want to do. So that's kind of the 1 month roadmap here. You can hold us to. Other fun things. So for next week, starting later this week, we have an intern that's starting here at Tellor. So yeah, a young kid who's in college here at a local Frederick college. So we'll let you guys ask mean questions to the intern next week on the call if you want.
We'll make him handle the entire call.
Yes. Just ask him your hardest, most technical questions. And then, so we'll introduce him. And then we're doing some hires as well. So we've put out some offers to people, and hopefully soon we'll be letting you know about some new hires as well, which is really exciting too. I recorded a podcast last Friday, I believe. That should be coming out. We'll let you know about that. I also will be recording another one next week, and then I believe Brenda's recording too this week.
That's for that event's technically this weekend, right? Reimagine 2020, the one that you guys pre-recorded.
Oh yeah. So podcast Reimagine whatever. So
I will tweet when I get their information out. I'll share the link to that event where the podcast he's referring to will be published, and a panel with Brenda will be going live over the weekend.
Yeah, so stay tuned for those. It was a fun talk, so definitely go and watch it, because we talk like for 5 minutes about Tellor, and then we get into monetary policy and libertarian conspiracy theories. So it turned out to be all over the board, which was fun for me. Next one, Mike, you want to talk about ETH Online?
Yeah. So ETH Online, ETH Global is doing a month-long hackathon / summit starting at the beginning of October. It's going to go the entire month of October. It's going to be one of the biggest DeFi events of the year, if not the biggest. It's the biggest ETH Global is doing. And, from what they were sharing with us, that to them, they really wanted this to be the spiritual replacement of DevCon, since DevCon was canceled due to COVID. And so there's a big gap in this space to not have a DevCon. And so ETH Global is putting together this large virtual event. They've never done a virtual event like this large. And Tellor is going to be one of the main sponsors. So we're really excited about that. It's our largest sponsorship. It's our largest event to be participating in. And we think it's our the best sponsorship partner to do it with. ETH Global, or, what more can be said about them? So we're really excited about that. It will be, like I said, it's a hackathon. So we're going to have, I think like $5,000 worth of bounties put up for that. We're still finalizing what that is. But in addition to that, there's going to be a summit. So every Friday, the way it's working is it's every week throughout October is going to be a different theme for the event, where they'll have a summit at the end of the week, where they'll have speakers and presentations that fit in with that theme. And I think, so one of the weeks is going to be a DeFi themed week. And so we also got invited. This wasn't part of our sponsorship. It was just, they invited us to be part of the summit as well, which is really cool, to speak about oracles, which is also very cool. And obviously we've been working so hard to become recognized as sort of leaders in the space, especially around oracles. And so it was very flattering to be able to do that. So information you are all going to be very familiar with if you've been following Mr. Nick Fed over here and his prior presentations. It's going to be a lot more of the same, but a bigger crowd, I think, for sure, watching that presentation. What else?
We published, Brenda published the article on CoinMarketCap.
Oh, yeah. So, that reminds me. So Yes, CoinMarketCap has a new blog called Alexandria. Uh, a reference to the ancient, famous library of Alexandria in ancient Egypt that was burned down like 1,000 years ago or something. So they had this new blog, or I guess it's a blog, but it's really meant to be the place for all the most important crypto information out there. Um, and Brenda published one of the first blog pieces on oracles. So I tweeted about that. And speaking of tweets, I also posted it on Blockfolio Signal. So for those of you that use Blockfolio, I'm not familiar with Blockfolio Signal. I've never used it. So you guys let me know. I've heard you guys ask for it, and we applied months and months ago and finally got accepted. So now we're on Blockfolio Signal, and it's a place for us to push updates to you guys directly to your phone. But let me know if you guys have been getting, I sent out 2 updates so far. Let me know if you guys are getting them, what kind of content you'd like to see specific to your Blockfolio Signal. If it's something different, if you want more technical, you want less technical, what do you want? We can customize it. So yeah. Also, I guess stay tuned for another Blockchain Bread interview coming out about V2. And that pretty much rounds out all the updates I have.
Yeah, I think that's probably more than enough updates. I think that's a lot of content coming down. So
we've been quiet lately. I know you guys have been like, well, what's going on? What's going on? We've been quiet on Twitter. We've been in the lab working on things that we can't really tweet about. So we're coming out of the cave, so to speak, tomorrow.
Cave that is V2 development.
The cave, yeah, but it's a good cave. You guys want us to be in that cave. Otherwise, we'd be delaying things more, So anyway, so hopefully there'll be a lot more activity soon.
Cool. So yeah, now I guess we can just kind of move into the questions. Do you want to answer Zoom questions first? Or?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, okay, somebody asked what the opinion on using basically Uniswap tokens as node collateral to let people mine and provide liquidity. You guys can go read some of my previous posts on how I feel about liquidity. I don't think liquidity is really a problem for Tellor, or it's definitely not something I think you should. It's not really a problem for crypto in general. People like to think that liquidity will lead to usage when I don't think there's much evidence that we have a liquidity problem here. So yeah, probably not going to happen. And then somebody asked, can we give any guidance on partnerships? Anything in the pipeline? Things are in the pipeline, but we don't talk about our pipes. It's just
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean guidance on partnerships? It's like the only thing I could tell you that would make you happy would be telling you about a partnership, but we can't announce anything until code is live, really. So, but like we always say, and like Nick just said, there are things in the works that we're excited about. So.
Yeah, because I mean, we'll just be honest with you guys. Like probably half of there's been numerous people who have been like, we're going to use Tellor, and then it just never plays out. Code just never goes live, where they're like, people as early as back last year around this time would be like, of course we're going to use Tellor, can you tweet about us? And then be like, hey, when you're live, we will. And they'll be like, all right, we'll do a partnership. And then they just don't go live. The project dies. It was just smoke and mirrors, and they try and raise, and it's happened a whole bunch.
Maybe so. The only people that lose in that situation is us and you guys, because
it builds up your hopes.
A short-term win, like you guys are like, oh look, we can share that someone's using Tellor, but then they end up not using Tellor, and it becomes it becomes FUD, and it becomes something that you then no longer trust what we announce, because it's like, is this real? We'll have it's like we don't want you guys to ever see an announcement from us and feel like, oh, let's wait and see what this really means. So. And we're not going to let anybody else sort of use us for their own, raise or whatever it is they're trying to do, their own hype cycle. So we wait on them.
Somebody asked very simple question, V2 tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes. So you probably missed the beginning of the call.
Okay, so I'll jump in. This one's about moving to proof of stake. So more than 70% of the people holding TRB are not mining, and you should also incentivize the coin holders. So it's one thought this person has is, can we move to that because of there's more holders than miners? The other thought he had is instead of decreasing the stake amount, he suggests we increase it to like 5K tokens so that the miners open the pool for public and normal people to stake their tokens on the pools and earn some tokens.
I think it's like two separate pieces. So, the proof of stake. So we can eventually move to proof of stake. We've talked about doing that. You would want to make sure that it's right. Just paying people to hold Tellor tokens is never what we want to do. You want to structure it in such a way that people are actively sort of incentivized to do something that actually provides security to your network. Like miners are actually a very unique group of people because they're used to hardware requirements and actually doing something. Whereas a lot of these protocols, especially the liquidity and the yield farming ones, it's as simple as depositing and then you getting returns. With Tellor, it's never going to be that simple. We want you to run a database. We want you to submit transactions on Ethereum, things like that. It's a little bit more complicated than just being a holder and then having a place to deposit your money. That said, pools already could open it up to allowing people to deposit and be part of those stakes. Right now with the proof of work, it's actually, getting the stake amount. So 1,000 tokens is one of the easier things compared to actually getting all of the hardware necessary to compete at it. You need a lot of specialized chips now. So some of the things that we're doing, so with V2, we are actually limiting each miner's address to win only once every 3 blocks. So what that's going to do is it will probably 3x the number of staked miners. That's just, hopefully it does that. And then even if we have the stake amount, if we 3x the number of miners, you're increasing the amount that needs to be staked. And, we'd rather do something like that rather than just increase the stake. I'd rather have a whole bunch of miners necessary with a smaller stake than a few miners with really big stakes and a whole lot to lose if they sort of do something wrong. So I think that answers it.
Yeah, I think it does. Let us know if you have any further questions on that. Now that the block time is halved, is the block reward halved to keep the inflation rate? Yes. If you didn't hear it, he said yes. Okay, gas consumption question for Tellor V2. Leo Hashpool posted a test on Ringbeat testnet showing a 3.8 times consumption for slots 1 through 4 and 2x for slot 5.
I think it is higher for 1 through 4. I think slot 5 is just a little bit higher. So I think that was the older one. So we actually updated and we did reduce it. So it's just a little bit more on the 5th slot, but it is a little bit more. Yeah. The 5th slot is always the most. So slots 1 through 4 weren't as big of an issue. It was always that 5th slot. But we only increased it by a tiny bit. And we're obviously working on ways to do it, but now we get 5 times the amount of data for a little bit increase in a gas cost. So rather than needing 5 blocks to get 5 data points on chain, we just need 1. So if you look at it that way, gas costs are lower per data point.
Okay, so this is a market question. I don't know how much we can really even answer this, but the market is down. Tellor drop is alarming. Why aren't we more active to promote the project? We can't control the markets. I mean, the whole market is indeed down. And we think that the best way that we could support the longevity of the value of our project is to be busy at work on things that really, really matter. And not saying that being active on Twitter doesn't matter, but during this last market downturn, we've been really focused elsewhere. And I don't think there was anything I was going to be able to tweet. There was no fluff tweet that was going to save, the market downturn from our perspective. And we don't want to even play that game where we're trying to find a way to trick the market into holding on for one more week or whatever it is. I don't even know what it would be that I would have to tweet to sort of have that big of an impact. So all we can do is let the market do what it does and focus on taking one step forward for ourselves. And that's what we've done. We got a lot coming out. So just be patient is, I guess, my advice. It's not, that is not trading advice.
Yes.
Any guests coming up on the calls? We don't have any. I mean, I guess do new employees count? Maybe.
I would love to do some guests here soon.
That was our vision.
Yeah, no, I have a few in mind we'll bring on. So
well, certainly once we get anybody that we onboard or onboards Tellor and things like that, we're going to of course have them on and introduce and talk about the integration and those kind of things. But we do know quite a few people in the space, and yeah, we got to do that. Let us know what you guys are interested in too. Like if there's certain areas of the space that you're more interested in learn more to learn more about, we might know somebody that is an expert in that area and we could bring them on. So we're open to recommendations too. Has any crypto project protocol earned its moat yet?
No. Yeah, I would say no. Bitcoin, maybe.
I guess that, yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what he's talking about, this is the idea of you want to moat around your business so other people can't just sort of fork it off. So this was Uniswap. If you actually have a, in the traditional VC world, you want a business that you can have, they call building a moat. So you have patents or you have, real user capture to where there's no way that your customers can switch. There's no way that competition can really come in. So I think, so it's tough. Crypto by definition, it's everything's open source and you should be, it is hyper capitalism at its finest. So you can fork it away and you can move things. And that's a good thing. Yep. So, ideally if something has a moat, it's a bad thing for crypto. So.
Yeah, well, it depends on what's making the moat too. I think with crypto, you're going to see a new type of moat. You're not going to have patents that are protecting you. You're going to have, and this sort of segues into another question about social layers. You can have a moat that is the community, that is your users, your stakeholders, the sort of, for lack of a better word, trust. But if people, you can create a moat because people are used to using you, and there's a huge community already built around it, and the network effects of that. So then that's much harder for people to transition from. People don't like to change unless it's a really good reason. And so there's this question about, are we overpaying for ETH security? And if yes, how do we know this? And what is social layer security? And I don't know I actually don't know the answer to what is social layer security. I'm not sure in that context, but from what I understand about the social layer is just, those are the humans involved in any of these networks. You have these protocols and you have the blockchain and you have all that stuff, but you also have the human element in all of it. And I don't know if you could elaborate on that, Nick, but
yeah, I think it's the social aspect is what you almost want to take off more in these crypto communities. A small group of really fervent supporters is what's going to make any protocol or any movement. And if you have a strong group of people that believe in a project, they believe in the vision, they believe in the fact that they can all sort of get together and get something done and what the project stands for, then the price doesn't matter. the ability of attackers to sort of attack it really goes down, because if as a community, ultimately the Tellor community, you can sort of fork off into different things. You can have votes to break attacks. That's where the security lies. Even in like Ethereum or Bitcoin, you could have like very little mining hash power, but if the community's really willing to fork away, malicious behavior, then it doesn't matter. And that's what, I think that's where we want to sort of focus a lot of our time. And if you can build a really good community, the rest will come.
Indeed. Are you guys a fan of FTX and Alameda Research Crew?
We don't really know them.
We have had a call with Alameda Research and FTX once, and it was a good call. We liked them. They were fans of Tellor, so and they had great questions. So I think.
When was that?
Remember, it was a guy. It was well, I don't know how to describe it. It was not long ago. It was like 2 months ago.
Never mind.
Anyway, do we like trading? For me, no. I haven't traded in a long time.
Yeah, I like trading. Like I like playing blackjack. It's fun every once in a while, but it's really stressful.
Yeah, I need to have a glass of whiskey and a cigar.
Yeah, as long as you're drinking, it's fun. But
yeah,
if your livelihood depends on it, it is no fun.
Oh my gosh, no, I don't want to go back to those days. I guess it's fun. Like if you have something really stable and you have like your funny money to play with, and then it can be fun.
Sure.
But yeah, for those of you out there that are like trying to make this your living, like more power to you. And I hope the best, and I hope you reach financial security and all that, or financial freedom. But man, I tried that for a little bit. I don't miss the sleepless nights and the stress. But anyway, why are lockups bad? Vesting is an accepted best practice in Silicon Valley.
Ooh, I know this one is in reference to one of my tweets, where I was riffing on lockup. So what happens is a lot of times projects will have like, we're launching our new token, and all of the investors, or 60% of the supply, is locked up for 4 years, or 2 years or whatever. So you can come buy it, and that the team isn't going to dump on you right away. The problem is, so like let's just say it's a layer 1, for instance. If you're going to go build on that layer 1, that 60% of the token supply might just dump in 4 years. So like or they might be malicious. They might vote against everything, like they might vote against decentralization if the US government tries to crack down on them because they want to preserve their investment. You don't know. Like you have no idea how this set of tokens is going to act when the lockup ends. I would rather just unlock them. It's open now. If they're gonna dump, they're gonna dump. Let's just get it over with now, and then it'll sort of give the people who want to build on it a little bit more assurance. Like, listen, if they were gonna dump, they would have dumped. Like if a lockup is preventing investors from dumping your token, they're probably not investors you want in your token.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like it's just if that's the case, same with the team. If the only thing preventing the team that makes the team incentivized to continue to work on the project is that, oh man, like I'm not going to be able to dump this on everyone, like that's not the team you want in place. You want somebody who they could dump all of their tokens and they actually believe in it. Yeah, so no, stay away from those. It's just, it makes sense on paper, but it doesn't really hold water.
I don't know what this is. You might know what this is. Are you a fan of SPACs? SPACs? How do I say that? SPAC? Does anybody know what that is? Anybody in the chat? I don't know. Okay, pass. Do you think Coinbase will tokenize its equity? I don't know. Being a U.S. company, I don't know if that Might be difficult for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't. Like, what would be the point? So part of the problem with the SEC, so Coinbase seems to be trying to do things by the books, or at least in a
Yeah.
regulatory, um, coherent fashion. And it's usually to tokenize it. The problem with tokenizing equity, and the reason that tokenized stocks haven't really taken off, is that in if you're actually a registered security here in the US, you have to trade on a ATS, or kind of a registered, a platform that's registered with the SEC. So the whole point is like, well, why would you tokenize yourself if you still have to trade on one of these platforms? Um, and it's sort of just a lot of work for a meaningless designation. And you also have to have the ability to know who holds your stock and be able to break who holds your stock. So, if a terrorist organization buys your stock, you need the ability to claw it back. So you need kind of in universal sort of whitelisting on all of your addresses, and you need to do KYC, AML registrations on all of them. So like it just doesn't pass the test of things you would use a blockchain for. Sure, you could get into, maybe they'll use some sort of private blockchain for accounting purposes, but whatever. Most of the time when people talk about tokenizing equity, though, it's in the sense of tokenizing it and putting it on like a Uniswap or something like that, and they're hoping that then the stock price will make a big bump because it has access universally, but that's just not going to happen. So I think what would be more fun would be a project with a token also issuing a public stock. So like having like a Maker Foundation or something also issue a public equity. And then people are just like, which one holds water? And they're like, we don't know. We're just raising money. And just go for it. So I think that would be a more interesting move.
There's one in the chat about the state of Tellor and the long-term vision of the project. Do you think that the CEO is more visible?
They said the same thing about Satoshi.
That's true. I don't think, I think no, but I think our version of the state of Tellor is going to be in our soon to come quarter 3 review. So what we've moved to since last quarter was we used to do the monthly updates, and so we moved into quarterly updates, and at the end of the quarter. So coming up very soon, there'll be a quarter review update. This will be our chance to sort of talk about how far we've come in the last quarter and sort of what we're looking forward to in the following quarter. And then of course, at the end of the year, doing a sort of a year review and looking forward into 2021 type of article. So that's kind of how we like to do those. We could push Brenda in front of a podium.
Oh, we signed her up for 2 more podcasts this week, so she'll be. You guys will see more of her.
Yeah, she definitely is going to be more and more. As we hire more people, there'll be, another thing about Brenda, guys, is that she's very busy, also a developer. So like,
and she's not taking over my calls. That's the other.
Yeah.
Thing. These were tech calls originally. These are mine.
Yeah. She
can get her own.
But as we're hiring more people, that all 3 of us are going to be having more time to be more I don't know if outspoken, or just not that we really want more limelight, but to be out doing more PR stuff. So yeah, I expect more of that to come. I just don't think that that's like the thing. We don't, I don't think our vision for our company is to have
thought leaders.
Yeah.
they
or just be dependent. You don't want the product to be dependent on a CEO necessarily.
Yes.
So is crypto just for unstoppable finance? We said this a bunch of times. One of our oldest questions in any AMA we ever did is that we believe that Ethereum, as long as blockchains are slow and expensive, and gas prices are high, that high value transactions are what's going to be the main use case, and that's DeFi. You know, financial applications is where a lot of value is at, and so people are willing to pay higher gas prices and wait a little longer to use a blockchain for it. So hopefully not forever. It won't be just for unstoppable finance, but we think it's definitely the main use case now. Any Medium articles coming up?
Yeah. I think we'll probably post one just on the Tellor V2.
For sure.
We'll probably post one. We have a Tellor Security 201 article, kind of just a revamped, like what is Tellor security given V2. And then, yeah, and then a few other ones coming up as well that we're still in draft stage. So yeah, we'll be pushing out more. Now that V2 is kind of out the door, I'll have a little bit more time to write.
Yeah.
That's good.
What interviews are coming out? We covered that. Please explain the huge dump lately. We can't.
If you can't explain why it went up, you can't explain why it went down.
Yeah. What goes up must come down. I mean, you know.
Yeah, everyone, you know.
I think, you know, I guess if I was going to say anything that makes sense to me personally, but I don't know, it's just that we had a meteoric rise. We had a lot of traction with these exchanges and things like that, and the Binance listing and everything else, that like it created all this hype, and so I don't blame those that like maybe, you know, when the price was at 80 plus or whatever, and they maybe bought last year at some point, like you can't expect people not to take profits. So, and it went up way too fast. Any thoughts on the Uniswap airdrop? I don't really.
It's meh.
Yeah, that's my sentiment too. Same thing with the sushi swap story.
Yes.
Is Melon Protocol going to use Tellor? We don't know. I don't know if you're familiar with them, Nick. They're like an asset management protocol.
Yeah, somebody just asked me, like, apparently she was like apparently their CEO was in our Discord, and people thought she was going to reach out to us, but then like I don't know.
We haven't heard from them.
Yeah, we haven't heard from them. So,
but
reach out to them. Let us know.
Yeah. I think it's kind of neat. I looked through their platform.
Melon's old. They've
been
around for a long time. I remember. Yeah, they're cool though.
Yeah. Okay, last question. What scares you but excites you the most about the Tellor project? What's a good one?
What scares you the most?
What scares you but excites you? So it's kind of like both things. I mean, the unknown. I mean, that sounds really stupid, but the unknown by definition for me is something that is scary but exciting, because there's so much potential, I think, for Tellor, and there's so much potential for crypto in general. But it's so volatile and it's so unknown. We don't know. We can't predict what's going to be, going on in crypto a year from now. What's going on with ETH 2.0? What's going on with the other layer ones? What's going on with, the trends change so quickly? It's both exciting because some cool stuff happens, and cool stuff can happen for us, and we have cool ideas. Yeah. But it's like we have no idea, what's really in store around the corner. I guess that's crypto in a nutshell. So yeah, don't get into this industry if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, or whatever the saying is. So anyway, if you have anything to add, Nick, otherwise that's all the questions.
Oh, nice. Somebody asked, what are you guys' thoughts on EOSIN software? I don't know too much, or EOCO software. Don't know enough to comment. So yeah, that would be not a very good answer to end the call on, but that's about it. But thanks everyone for joining. Obviously V2 is coming live tomorrow, so stay tuned. We're looking forward to it, and we'll be here next week, and as always, reach out on Telegram. Just feel free to
I
DM us
promise to
too.
post a selfie that Nick won't want to be in from Tellor office once we launch the V2.
Cool. Awesome. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.